Faqiri.
Respected brothers and sisters, and honored elders in humanity, I greet you with the greetings of peace, even though it's a term in itself that has been so elusive in the story that we've articulated in the last 3.5 years of what my late brother Suleiman Faqiri endured. But today isn't just about Suleiman, and I will talk about Suleiman shortly, but I want to give a sincere thanks to the courageous individuals here and across the nation for organizing Prisoners' Justice Day. Our destiny is not always determined by us, but the greatest strength and ability of any individual is how they act and react to their circumstance. And that's why this is so important when we hear the wonderful stories of Prisoners' Justice Day. Today is about resilience. Today is about strength. Today is about telling our stories based on how we want to tell it. Tempered by honor, tempered by humility, tempered from the notion of perspective of building that society that's filled with values that builds that better tomorrow. And although the system in itself don't give us that, we must have a higher standard. We must propel ourselves and elevate ourselves to building that better society. Yet it's an ironic paradox because the very individuals within the justice system should be effectively the greatest examples in the vanguard of the system of integrity and humility, yet they're not, it's us. And that's a problem. That's where the problem starts, within the state that we live in, within the society that we live in. And that's what I want to temper my speech on. So I just want to say a big applause to all of you and the organizers for organizing this event. All of you and all the individuals that share their story. The strength was my late brother. The individuals here that spoke earlier, they had strength. Rather, I'm just sharing his story. And although I'm filled with pain, with anguish, devastation, I remain strong and hopeful for that society that Suleiman should have lived in. I remain with the conviction that that society will be built one day. And that's why I'm here today. And that's why I'm here to speak about my late brother. And that's why I'm going to continue to fight for Suleiman Faqiri and every other individual that suffered from mental illness within the justice system. We will continue to fight, and we will remain more determined, ladies and gentlemen, because we have no choice. The stakes are higher today than it was yesterday, and the stakes will continue to be high, because if we do not stop this mess, if we do not stop this anguish, there will be so many sisters, brothers, mothers, husbands, loved ones that will be given to their families in body bags, not celebrating birthdays and their life with the dignity that they deserve. This is why our fight is so important. This is why our fight is between life and death, respected brothers and sisters. That's why I'm here today, and that's why I'm more determined ever to share Suleiman's story and to give everyone else hope for that building of that society. We must aspire to inspire before we expire. And let's talk about what happened to Suleiman Faqiri. Let's talk about the failure of the Ontario Provincial Police. Let's talk about the 12 guards that viciously and violently beat to death a vulnerable man who was suffering from an illness known as schizophrenia, who was already suffering, yet they gave to my mother in a body bag. It's like, oh, take him, it's not our problem anymore. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about Suleiman's story. Let's talk about the facts, and I'm sorry if I'm triggering anything. I purposely didn't come to the speech that my dear friend Lindsay spoke earlier of what happened, because I myself, I'm in pain. I am crying to all of you because I'm in pain, but my pain is all collective grief. I have to do this because Suleiman needed this, and any other individual who's suffering from mental illness is counting on us to be their voice. That's why I will never stop. My friends, let's talk about what happened to Suleiman Faqiri, and let's talk about where we are today. So let's have the facts at hand. At the time of Suleiman's death, both his legs and his hands were tied. He was pepper sprayed twice. There was 50 bruises on his body. He was in segregation. And they knew that he was suffering from mental illness. That is at the time of Suleiman Faqiri's death. Now, the OPP, and I'm sorry to trigger this to all of you, and please forgive me if I've triggered anything to you, but I have to share this story, because don't think that we are far off removed. This could have happened to anybody. Make no mistake, this could have happened to every single one of us here. But what makes this so fundamentally problematic, so dangerous, is that the Ontario Provincial Police, after it being a second investigation, said to the family, we're not able to press charges because we don't know who gave the fatal blow. Again, I'll repeat this again. We're not able to press charges because we don't know who gave the fatal blow. Even though they don't disagree that there was a beating, they don't disagree that there was 50 bruises, they don't disagree that he was pepper sprayed, they don't dispute the fact that the guards did not follow proper Ministry Solicitor General protocols, and they don't even disagree that the eyewitness was credible. They called the eyewitness, John Thibault, credible. Ladies and gentlemen, what this message effectively says is that if you want to commit murder, do it in a group. If you want to commit murder, do it in a group. We cannot press charges because we do not know who gave the fatal blow. This is sanctioning murder. That is the OPP's decision based on why they did not want to charge the guards that killed Suleiman Faqiri. And they expect us to just feel sorry for ourselves and say, this is it, we're going to put our hands up. No way, because Suleiman and so many other individuals in this nation are counting on us to continue to fight for them. What's even more problematic is that this is the second police investigation, and it's the same local Crown Attorney's office that gave the advice to the OPP to not press charges. Yet the OPP came to my family, said that this is, before they made this decision, that this is going to be a fresh investigation, that this is going to be independent. My dear friends, the Crown's legal opinion puts in itself the very integrity of our justice system. We have a fundamental problem. When people with mental illness, their lives are viewed as cheap, as if their lives don't have the same value of anyone else. And we have a fundamental problem when law enforcement is held to a different standard to the rest of the population. It's been a painful couple of weeks for my family. It's been a painful 3.5 years. We've paid not just only personal, but emotional price. And on December 15th, when Suleiman Faqiri did lose his life, a part of us died that day. But I tell you, my friends, when your perspective is tempered by sincerity, the world can change. In the various traditions that we have, there's a saying, a day plan, the creator plans, and the best of planners is the creator. We will get our justice, my dear friends. Make no mistake. La justice va arriver un jour. Je suis 100% sûr. La justice va arriver facilement un jour. Justice will arrive, I promise you. Not because we need it, but because that is our right. That was Suleiman's right. That was the right of any other individual who's suffering, who is vulnerable. And what does it say about our society when we have numbers of individuals who suffer from mental illness continue to be given to their families in body bags? In the last 3.5 years, we've had dozens of families standing behind my family, asking for our support. We will always give them our voice, always give them a voice to fight, because this isn't about Suleiman Faqiri anymore. It's not. I promise you, it's not. It's about every individual who's suffering from mental illness that have lost their lives within the parameter of the justice system. Suleiman's story was just the catalyst that Canadians across this nation said enough is enough. And I'll tell every single one of you, ladies and gentlemen, why we're fighting. I'll start from Vancouver, Tony Du. I'll start from Edmonton, Edward Snowshoe. I'll start from Winnipeg, Mature Medad. I'll start from Thunder Bay, Moses Beaver. I'll start from Kitchener, Ontario, Ashley Smith. I'll start from Lindsay, Ontario, Abdurrahman Hassan, Jordan Shared. I'll start in Montreal, Pierre Corleon. I'll start in Edmonton, New Brunswick, Chantal Moore. I'll start with the Jazz Chowry in Mississauga, John J. Campbell in Brampton, Jamal Francisque in Mississauga, Regis Korchinski Paquette in Toronto, Andrew Loku in Toronto, Justin Saint-Amour in Cascades in Ottawa, Abdurrahman Abdi in Ottawa, and Suleiman Faqiri. You know the dangerous nexus between all these names was? Every single one died as a result of the justice system. Every single one suffered from mental illness. Yet not one of these individuals whose lives were taken by the justice system, individuals that were responsible for their lives, were held accountable. It is because their lives are viewed as cheap. Not only are people with mental illness criminalized, but their lives are viewed as cheap. What do you say to their mothers? What do you say to their husbands or to their kids? Sorry, he's dead. It's not our problem anymore. And that's why the stakes are higher, because the Faqiri family and the Justice for Sully movement will not stop until we get justice for Suleiman, because justice for Suleiman is justice for every single Canadian individual suffering from mental illness. I promise you that. That's why we're fighting, ladies and gentlemen, and we will not stop fighting until we get that justice. I promise you. I promise you. I leave you with this quote, my dear friends, but before I say this quote, our values and our perspective is honor, dignity, and humility, with a conviction and passion to making that better tomorrow, of building that better society, even though we deal with individuals that do not have an ounce or semblance of those values that I emanated from my heart or that I'm articulating. That's why the stakes are higher, ladies and gentlemen. This Saturday, August 15th at 25 Grosvenor Street, just a few minute walk, head of the Ministry of Solicitor General. Come support my family and the Justice for Sully movement as we'll rally for Suleiman's rights. Right here, 25 Grosvenor, 2 p.m. Join us, my dear friends. This is our time is now to act. So please join us at 2 p.m. August 15th. My friends here will tell you, the Prisoner Justice Group, they'll be speaking. Desmond Cole will be speaking. Other individuals will be speaking. 2 p.m., please join us. The week after, we'll be holding a rally in Orillia, Ontario at the headquarters of the OPP. We're not going to stop until we get justice for Suleiman Faqiri and every other individual who suffered from mental illness. And I end off with this quote, my dear friends, that I give most of my speeches on, is this. A man who's in pain, whose life was taken the day his beautiful brother was also taken. And although I'm in a collective, I'm in a pain sharing my story, I do dream of that society where when I see my beautiful brother's face, I think in my heart that there will be a day where the Suleimans and the Ashley Smiths are thriving, or the Pierre Corleons or the Justin Saint-Amours. That's why you must act. And think about this quote, ladies and gentlemen, as to why our fight needs to continue. The South African statements, as I'm sure we know, spent 27 years in this prison, as I'm sure we know, said this quote, "The greatest measure of a society is how a society treats its most vulnerable." The greatest measure of a society is how a society treats its most vulnerable. Brothers and sisters in humanity, let's act now. Let's say enough is enough, because if we don't change it, no one else will. It is on you, because you do not want our future generation to say whether we were conformers or we stood in the face of history against individuals who did not have values to make this society a better place. Our generation counts on us, and we must never stop this fight. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Justice for Sully. Justice for Sully. Justice for Sully. Thank you so much, ladies.